Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. In this video, I'm going to talk about the conditional access policy with authentication flow, right? So what is it and what this feature is all about, right? So this is Entra ID conditional access policy feature and how this is going to help us to strengthen the authentication flows, right? And how it's going to block the legacy or a kind of flows which are not the a kind of stronger authentication methods, right? So those are the flows which are definitely not a stronger. And in the part of, or in case when people are accessing any business applications or anything, right? So it is going to automatically be identifying it dynamically, and it has the capability to check and verify that authentication methods, and then it is going to enforce it, right? So what is it? So I'll tell you it in the simple words, right? So authentication flow is a part of conditional access, as I said, and there are different ways users can prove who they are, right? Using the biometric, passkey, or multi-factor authentication, or the password. But now, when we are using authentication flow, it's going to enforce users to move out of the legacy ways or methods to move from those to the passwordless authentication methods, right? So this is something which is going to enforce users to use the passwordless authentication methods and processes to authenticate themselves and prove who they say are, right? And that way it is going to enforce, and user has to grant or provide the right set of privileges to access, and then only it is going to authenticate. Now, this is going to be enforced on all the types or all the context, as I said, on the managed devices as well as unmanaged devices. And then we are going to make sure user is using on both sides, be it personal device or corporate managed devices, or be it kind of public devices on each device. And we wanted to make sure users access as well as applications and systems and data and everything is safe and secure, considering zero trust security principles as well, right? So everything should be tagged, and there shouldn't be any loopholes for bad actors to get in and try to replay the actions and then get access back to the systems, and probably they can do anything once they get the access to that particular identity, particular application, right? So that's something which is really not expected at all, right? So next is where it is going to be used and how this is going to be helpful, right? So this is going to be used during the sign-in process typically, and it also been used with Microsoft 365 applications along with Outlook, Teams, SharePoint, and all other Microsoft 365 ecosystem, along with Microsoft Entra registered, as well as the integrated applications for single sign-on, for scheme integrations, as well as other integrations that we are going to do, right? So all those integrations are also being enforced with this policy or this capability, and then it's going to simply enforce it, right? And then there are some of the custom authentication on the custom applications as well. So it's going to enforce on it as well with only the right set of conditions and secure methods, which we are going to enforce to those applications. There are certain common scenarios and what authentication flow can do for each of those scenario, right? So let's say first scenario is user signs in from trusted corporate device, right? So what it's going to do and what the flow can do, right? So it's going to enforce or allow the passwordless sign in for Windows Hello for Business or FIDO2 capability, right? On the second scenario, the user tries to log in from the different country or different location altogether, then it is going to enforce MFA or block the sign in at all, because we are not allowing users to access any of those resources from any different locations, which is not a part of our organization or trusted locations at all, right? The third scenario, let's say user tries to use legacy authentication methods, including SMS or voice MFA, then it's going to be block that MFA and requires or enforce the Microsoft Authenticator MFA, as it's the stronger one, but the SMS and voice MFA, those are weak MFAs. That means it is not simply going to allow users to use it and then get into the system at all. Right. The next one is the sign-in flagged as a risk key by the Entra, and it is going to enforce users to re-authenticate using phishing resistant MFA methods, so that user has to re-authenticate and then prove who they say are, and then only it is going to allow them to access that respective resource, right? And on the last one here is a developer or any person is trying to use legacy method or legacy application which does not support the modern way of authentication. That means it simply blocks the legacy protocols and enforce the secure flow, the flow that we are going to build, right? By creating this policy, it is going to enforce the other modern authentication flows only and block all other legacy ones, right? And some of the use cases as well, right? So what are those use cases? Which includes the phishing resistant MFA, limiting use of weak methods like SMS or voice call MFAs, then custom authentication per user groups, risk-based enforcements, and transitioning from password to passwordless enrollments as well, right? And then there are different approaches which we can take to build this policy and then deploy it across the organization and make sure how people and organization are using the systems, applications correctly, and there are no any flaws or any issues, right? Be it remotely login or be it corporate network login or anywhere, right? Simply there is no boundary to access any of those workloads at all. And there are certain example policies that I would like to give you, including enforce secure MFA, then require phishing resistant authentication, block legacy authentications, requiring MFAs for risky logins from be it untrusted locations, from any untrusted IP networks or any networks, right? So those are the other examples of this policy, right? So now let's jump onto the demo and I'll show you how we can do that as well. And also I'll try and show you to log into the application, or one of the user is trying to, let's say, access any 365 workload. So what actions it is going to take, right? So let me share my screen quickly here and I will show you the policy creation. And then we can go ahead and do that. All right, so let me share it here. All right, so I'm on Entra portal here, and you can see I have created so many different policies here, and many of them are read only and report only, and few are on. On means those are turned on and those are in action. So let's go ahead and create one. I'll give it a name as CA for authentication flow, because this is going to be the policy that I'm going to create and show you. And we can target all users or specific group. So for now, I'm just going to target one of the user that I wanted to target and show you in example here. So I'm going to select that particular account. And then resources. So resources includes all applications or any specific applications that we wanted to deploy, right? And is going to give us a warning saying that don't lock out yourself out of this policy, right? So I'm going to keep as is because I have selected only one of the user account here, and that is just a warning over here. And on the condition side, there are different conditions that we can put, including user risk, sign-in risk, insider risk, device platform location, client apps, filters for devices. So I'm going to add client applications because I don't want to use legacy authentication methods of clients, and that should be enough. Now, next you see authentication flows over here. And once you click on that, it is not configured by default, right? Once we click to yes or set it to yes, there are two transfer methods. One is device code flow and device transfer or authentication transfer. So I'm going to talk about device code flow, right? And device transfer is another topic altogether. So I'm going to make another video for that and tell you in detail with the practical example as well. For now, let's go ahead with the device code flow and hit save button. Right, so we have now added a device code flow as authentication flows, and we are good here. Now, next is something where we wanted to enforce the grant access with multi-factor authentication as a required one method. And then we are good here. And also we can put some of the session capabilities on this policy as well, because we really don't know when and where this user is going to access any of the application, right? Be it personal device, be it corporate, or be it a public device, right? So it could be from any locations, public as in it is publicly accessible to anyone, right? That means we should really be in a position to set the tight boundaries on the systems and application levels, right? And then we can put that capability. Let's say persistent should be never persist, or maybe on sign in side, we wanted to set hours, let's say 1 hour, even if user is going to access that for a particular period, and select it. And for now, I'm going to turn it on because I have targeted only one user right now. And we are good here. Let's click create. So that means this is going to create a policy, and right. So this has created a policy and it is just trying to finish it up. Perfect. So the policy is created successfully, and you can see that it's listed out here. Now let's go back and see the user experience. Now it is not going to show the user experience immediately because policy has to be delivered to the user account, and probably it's going to take a bit of time. And you can see that it has automatically logged into this browser session because it has kept the tokens active for this browser or this identity, because there is a policy deployed. And that is why I'll just close it and then reopen. And then let's see, and let's try opening it again. Click sign in. Perfect. So now let me get the username and password for this account, which I'm trying to log in here. So let's say this is the user account that I wanted to log in. Click next. Right, and then get the password. All right, so let's grant the access or approve this number matching by entering this number, and then boom. Let's click on yes. Now you might be saying that what's the experience here, because we don't see any prompt, we didn't see anything, what is happening or what had happened, right? Because this policy is applied and we can see what had happened. Let's say we can check this policy is applied to this user account by getting into the what if tool, where it's going to check whether this policy is applied to this account or not. Now let's go ahead and check that one here quickly. And what would be the effect and impact? Let's select that account and select all the applications. Devices, I would set Windows, I would set browser here. Authentication flow, I'll set or select device code, and I think that should be good. And let's search out. Okay, it says cloud apps, and I believe that's already selected here. Insider risk is not needed. Sign in, let's say select it low, and service principles, let's say low. Maybe I would select the country as India. Okay. So if it is India, then we need to put that IP address. So to get that IP address, I would have to search what is my IP address. So this is going to be public IP address, right? Public IP of this computer where I'm logged in and working, right? So I need to get that IP address, and then I'm going to get that IP address. So why it is not showing up? Let's refresh it once. It is still checking. Don't know what is it checking. That is strange. It's taking a time to find the IP address. So this way we can just simply try and put that IP address, and then we should be good here, right? So let me do one thing quickly and open command prompt here. Config/all. And here should be an IP address. All right. So this is the IP address. I'll simply get it and put it here, and probably we can search it. Okay, it is just selecting. Let me search for the application here, and let's see if it is going to filter it out. Office 365. Let's say I'll select this one for now and add it. Okay, let's search and let's see. Okay, it shows the number of policies here, and perfect. So here you can see that the policy which I have created, which is going to be targeting to this user account. And you can see that we have put an session control over here as well. And the policy is turned on and has filters, no. And this policy is enforcing, right? Also, this policy is enforcing MFA on this user account, because this policy is separately created for this account and is enforcing it. The rest, all other policies are set as a report only mode. That means those policies are not impacted at all. And the policy which I have created is definitely been enforcing, right? So this way we can evaluate how this policy is going to work and is going to be impacting, right? So let's say if I go here and open up this application. This is an Outlook application, right? And for this account, it has opened up as it's already authenticated. And if it was the same authentication on a separate device, right, and it is already authenticated with the right set of method, that is why it did not prompt anything other than any other way. Like if there was any other method, like a legacy method where SMS or voice calling for MFA, something like that, that means it is not going to allow users to get or access it at all, right? So that is why it has granted the access. Now we can go back to the Entra ID and go to the user section and find that user over here. Probably it is not going to show immediately for this account. So I'm going to check the sign-in logs for this, as well as if there are any changes, those are captured over here and those should show up. Okay, so here you can see that there is one record. And let's see, strong authentication service, right? Then target, what was changed, right? So this was the old value and this is set to new value. Now it has identified device name. This is the mobile device, right, where I have authenticated. And you can see that tag token, software token activated, then phone app version, and then device ID and everything, right? Along with last authenticated timestamp as function set to null and tenant and everything together, right? So it has captured all of that details because we have enforced the policy, which is authentication device code flow, right? Similarly, on the sign-in logs, we can go back and see what has captured and what is happening, right? Because whatever happening or whatever things are happening when user is trying to access, then we should see over there. MFA requirement satisfied with the tokens, and then we can go down here to check what else was granted and verified during this process. Both are satisfied, and on the conditional access policy also you can check this was satisfied along with the one it should show up here. That is not captured here, I believe, but that should be and a report only. So these are the report only, so that doesn't matter. But mainly the policy which we are looking for is all right. Seems that is not it showing up, right? So yeah, this way we can definitely check what is happening and what is not, and which policy is applied, where it is applied. Here you can see multi-factor authentication was enforced successfully, and then this user was enforced and has granted the right set of access, right? And we can go into the non-interactive logins as well and see there. Here you can see it has granted the authentication, let's say from today's date. Okay, so there are so many logs you can see. Let's say for today's date, this is the first log which was showing as success, and it has captured all the details. Here you can see this client set credentials, client assertion, right? And it has appropriately granted authentication and octagon. Here you can see the browser is a rich client. That means it is a supported platform, and that is why it has granted the access. And MFA requirement was satisfied with the right set of claims, and then the policies were also applied successfully. If we check the latest one for one of the application, then it is also going to give us that complete details. One Outlook on the web. This is the application. And yep, so you can see everything was verified correctly. Right. So yeah, definitely this is something is working as expected. And as I said, when device or user is accessing any of those applications with a legacy method on managed as well as unmanaged devices, and it is also depend on how we are going to control it and target it on the devices. So let's say currently I have created this policy, but I have not targeted any of the devices type or platform, be it Windows or whatever it is, right? And basis on that, it is going to enforce and capture it. So yeah, that's all for this video. Hope you like it and hope you will learn something new out of this video. And let me know if you have any questions, any doubts, anything that you wanted to know and I didn't learn something out of this one. And yep, let me know if anything that is not clear or anything you wanted to learn more about this topic or any specific topics. So yeah, that's all for this video. Please do like, share, and subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends, colleagues, and people around you so that they can also learn something new, right? So yeah, that's all for this video. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.